Welcome to Tablenauts. My name is Max. Today I am going to do the unthinkable, the impossible. I'm going to hypothetically cull my collection even farther. You see, I watched 3-Minute Board Games do a video called their perfect 20-game collection, and it was a great video. You should check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. But at the same time, I thought, I want to do that, but that's too easy. I didn't give myself a concrete number, which actually made this more difficult in my opinion. I basically just said, Max, what is the smallest board game collection you could possibly have where you would still be happy with your board game collection? We're gonna go as far as we possibly can by getting rid of as many board games as we can. Shocking absolutely nobody. The first game, the first inclusion into my shelf is Blood on the Clock Tower. This is my favorite board game of all time. It is a game that I have played nearly 30 times, and I haven't actually played it in a while now, and I need to get that sorted right away. But this game is just something special. It is everything I would have ever wanted from a social deduction game. To me, it is the social deduction game for those who love social deduction games and those who hate social deduction games. You see, there's something about Blood on the Clock Tower. The fact that lying is part of the game, and I don't mean that because you have to lie in every social deduction game, but like everyone lies in Blood on the Clock Tower. Good, bad, evil, demon, minion, townsfolk, outsider, storyteller, it doesn't matter. Everyone is lying. So it's not like Resistance or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, where you get caught in a lie and it's just game over. You can get caught in a lie and yet still explain yourself away. And that to me has made it something that's so much more approachable to people. Danielle, my wife, she loves Blood on the Clock Tower. She loathes The Resistance and One Night Ultimate Werewolf and other social deduction games. It's because it's more puzzle. It doesn't matter if you get caught in a lie, you're just trying to unweave the web, untangle it all. And she's quite good at that. And really, I can say for a fact that her love for the game has just increased my love for the game in turn. This is a game that I adored. I introduced to her, she adored, and we found ourselves talking about it and recapping games for hours upon end. And it has just been some of the most incredible experiences with her, with my friends in person at conventions and online in our Discord when we play. I'm meeting and hanging out with people I would have never expected, all because of Blood on the Clock Tower. And for me, there is no better gaming experience than this. This is it. This is it for me. If this were pick one single game to play for the rest of eternity, I would still pick Blood on the Clock Tower. That's how good it is. It's my favorite. It makes the list. Obviously. Max, is this just your top 10 list? No, it's not. Yes, many of my favorite games are on this list, but also games that probably don't even break my top 50 are going to come up on this list because of one reason or another, which I'll chew my... But this is Dune Imperium, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and it's a game that I just couldn't see myself not owning. This is my favorite worker placement game, bar none. It's my favorite deck building game, bar none. It's my favorite of the hybrids. This is everything I want in a worker placement game. I do play with the expansions, both Rise of Ix and Immortality, and I think that they do make the game better for it, specifically Rise of Ix. If you don't own that, I think you should give it a shot. Dune Imperium is tense. It is fighty. It is incredible. It's a game where you're constantly fighting for board presence. You're fighting in the literal combats. And I think the thing that takes it up a notch for me in terms of most of these worker placement games is the tension that comes from having a literal victory point track. I love race to 10 point games, whatever you want to call them. One of my first forays into the hobby was Munchkin, which is a race to 10 game. I love Cosmic Encounter, race to 5. I love Moonrakers. I love Dune Imperium. The tension that literally racing for a certain score, route to 30, does for me is just incredible. It's not a set number of rounds. It's just how efficient you can be in earning your points and how you can outpace your opponents. It's one of those things that just gets the blood flowing and the juices going. And I absolutely adore this game. I could not go without Dunaperia because it is everything I want in a worker placement. One of my favorite games of all time. You know, haters gonna hate, right? Haters gonna hate. People may have seen my first 2 picks and been like, wow, this guy's opinions are, whoa. Look, they're mine. It's right there. It's right there. It's that big circular thing behind me. Too heavy for me to pick up right now. That's Crokinole, a incredibly simple yet classic dexterity game. There are dexterity games out there that I think may be more fun or more exciting. Like, for example, I loved Iron Forest. I loved our plays of that. I loved playing Crash Octopus, Karuka, but something about Crokinole is just simplicity at its best. It feels so good to slide the tiles on the board. It's the clickety clacks, the poing when you bounce it off the metal or the rubber. It is just one of those games that can draw an eye and draw a person to the table, and you can play and teach it in absolutely no time at all. It is timeless, in my opinion, and that is why it's here on my list. It may not actually go on a shelf. It may sit in the floor or hang on a wall, but it's an art piece. It's an heirloom. It's a game that is just fun. Man, I need to play more Crokinole. HexaQuest. Now, you may have never heard of this. You may have never heard of the other game I'm going to pool in with this, which is Bezier. I don't have that here. I have a copy, but it's not here. But either of these 2 games can slot in this space. Bezier and HexaQuest are both trivia games. And my wife and I and my family just love trivia. I suck at it. I'm not smart. I get beat every time. But it's fun to watch her kick my butt. And we just have a great time playing these trivia games. If you have any better options, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to know what kind of trivia games are your favorite, but for us, these 2 have done the job. Now, it's interesting. I would actually love to mesh them together. I think they both have things going for it that are better than the others, but ultimately, if I could mesh HexaQuest with Bezier for the ultimate trivia game, that'd be just incredible. See, in HexaQuest, you're flipping over tiles that are worth various amounts of points. The ones that are worth more points are obviously more difficult, and it's multiple choice, and you can push your luck by flipping over 2, 3 tiles, and if you get all of them right, you keep all the points, but if you get any of them wrong, you miss all the points, and it's just, I love that. I love the push your luck element. I love that you can, have a strategy. Like, do I go for consistent 1s and 2s, or do I go for the 4s and try and get lots of points off of them? It's just a blast to play. But then you have Bezier, which has like a racetrack, and things are worth additional points and categories, and you can swap with your opponent and steal one of their tiles and give you one of your own categories you don't like, or you can Bezier and try and guess their question and get a half the point value for that. If you put all that in a pot, stirred it up, and gave me a trivia game, it would be the best trivia game on the planet, and our family would adore it so much. This is a game that probably isn't in my top 50. Same with Bezier. I mean, it's hard for me to quantify where a trivia game lies in the favorite games of all time, but I can say for certain that I need them in my life. I need them on my collection, on my shelf. At least one of them, I have to have it. That is for Danielle. That is for me and my family. We just adore them. Gotta have it. So couldn't go without it. HexaQuest or Bezier, either of those 2, staples. Probably my favorite cooperative game. Death May Die is a game where you're going to be taking your miniature, placing it on a map, navigating it, completing objectives, fighting monsters, ultimately leading up to fighting the great old one, Cthulhu, Hastur, any of them, Yog-Sothoth, the Black Goat, whoever it might be. And it's your job to punch him in the face, to shoot him with the shotgun, to throw a Molotov at him. It doesn't matter. It's wild, it's zany, and I adore it. It doesn't pretend to be serious. It's hilarious. It's fun rolling 12 die, 10 die, however many you can handle. It's fun to get more powerful. Not only are you acquiring items throughout the course of the game, but you're going more insane. And in this game, that equates to more power, but also more risk. The more insane you get, the more die you roll, the more abilities you have, but the closer you are to perishing. And that balance between pushing for getting more powerful while also pulling and trying not to die is just divine. It's a game that makes me so happy every time I play. There are characters you will fall in love with, like Rasputin. You will fall in love with them, or Elizabeth is Danielle's girl because she loves to shoot and roll 10 dice doing it and just blow the head off of any dang monster or cultist that looks your way. This is a game that is just delightful. If you're looking for something serious, it's not it. If you're looking for a episodic based miniatures dice chucking cooperative game, this is it. The way they do the episodes is incredible, in my opinion. You have a bunch to choose from. You can mix and match them with any investigators under the sun and any great old one under the sun, and ultimately you're going to have a good experience. I can't say enough good things about this. It's probably in my top 5 games of all time. If you're looking for fun, boy, you found it. Speaking of fun, we've got this little guy, Monikers. My favorite party game of all time. Yes, you can play Monikers with pieces of paper and writing down your own words. Yes, it's basically Fishbowl if you've ever played that. It's also Time's Up if you've ever played that. But Monikers is special to me. It is a game that just invites conversation and laughter and joy and inside jokes. I don't think another game has ever made me laugh as much as Monikers has. It doesn't matter who I play it with. It doesn't matter at what player count. Give me 4, 6, 8. I don't care. Play it online. Play it in person. It doesn't matter. I have so much fun with Monikers. It starts out as a game where you can say anything you want to get them to guess the clue, and then by round 2 you can say a single word, and round 3 it's strictly charades, and that sounds absolutely impossible. But by the time you're to the 3rd round, you have an inkling as to what these clues and these words might be, and it gives you incredible moments, like doing this, being, I forget who it was, Denzel Washington or something like that. I'd remember it if I were with Jeff and Jamie, but there's these just inside jokes that can last forever. I have memories from playing Monikers with David and Erica 5 years ago that still hold to this day. It's my favorite party game. I mean, Blood on the Clock Tower is party, I guess, but pure party fun, that's a bit different, but that's my favorite. That's great. I like this, but that is better. But for pure 4 to 6 player party game, if you just want to laugh, I can think of no better option than Monikers. So good. I couldn't make the video without at least €1, right? Like, I think our channel would have just dissolved or exploded or been hacked or something if we did that, because the people love them. And I do too. I love Euros too. Dune Imperium is kind of Euro-y, right? But then there's the combat element too. I don't know. This is pretty Euro. It's very beige. Kyle would love this game. Pride, Intrigue, and Prejudice in Victorian England. It's a game that I honestly feel like it's kind of hard to describe. Maybe just more like action selection. It has vague worker placement elements in it. It has vague deck building, construction, tile placement elements in it. I've not looked at the BGG description for this game. I'm not sure how I should describe this to you, but what I can say is it's fun. The theme is great. It is something that can be compelling to a large audience of people, right? Like Danielle loves this theme. My mom wants to play this game, though we haven't had the opportunity yet. It's just a game that can appeal to people that aren't traditionally board gamers, people that like Pride and Prejudice or Bridgerton. You can introduce them to this and they might latch onto it rather quickly, but it's not a gimmick, right? Like, the game is genuinely very good. The way that you acquire cards and acquire tiles throughout the game and are trying to basically win the courtship of the Fairchilds. And you do that by acquiring points in their categories that they want the people to have. And it's one of those things that you can math it out all you want, but sometimes it's just not in your favor. And I'm okay with that. I like a little bit of luck. I like a bit of intrigue in my board games, and this does that oh so well. I'm not sure where this sits on my top games of all time list, but it is definitely a game that, because of the theme, because of its uniqueness, I can't get rid of. It's in my collection for the long haul, and it makes me happy that it's there. That's obsession. I'm upset. Don't make. If you thought obsession was beige, boy, have I got a game for you. This is Awkward Guests. This is basically Clue 2.0. If you like deduction games, if you grew up on Clue, I think you owe it to yourself to play Awkward Guests. It is my favorite deduction game. I also love things like Cryptid, but to me, Awkward Guests is infinitely replayable and incredibly versatile. I've played Awkward Guests at 2, I've played it at 6, and anywhere in between. You can solo it too, though I haven't had the opportunity to do that. It is just a game that works everywhere. Everyone knows Clue, right? Duh, everyone's played Clue. And if they don't like it, maybe they like this. If they do like Clue, then they'll probably almost definitely like this. It has like this deck construction system. I believe the brilliant deck system, which is brilliant. I'm gonna be real with you. It's very good. And the way that they make it work is just like you put random cards together and you get like a special case. And the app has like thousands of cases. You will never play all the cases. And one of my favorite things, which you do have to have the app to get, is that you can basically guess and not be eliminated. I've played Clue 100 times throughout my life. I've been wrong a couple. And when you look at the clues and you realize you're wrong, and then you're faced with the consequences of being eliminated from the game effectively, there's nothing you can do. You know the answer now. You can't play anymore. That is brutal. I mean, it makes sense. There's no other way to go about it, but it's brutal. But with the app in this game, not only do you get to continue playing if you're wrong because the game just tells you, hey, that's not it, but also you are given either a hooray if you win or a womp, womp, womp if it wasn't right. And like, I play the game just to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like that is. Now I don't have the game here. In fact, I'm about to tell you that I don't even know what game I want here. I need more time. I need more plays to tell you, but I'm going to tell you that I want an Eric Lang game here. Whether that be Ankh or Blood Rage or Rising Sun, one of them I want on my shelf. I'll tell you what I'm currently thinking, but I'll tell you that 4 days ago, it wouldn't have even sniffed this list. I have always thought that Blood Rage and Ankh battle for number 1, and then Rising Sun is a distant third. And then I played Rising Sun at 5 this Saturday. Oh, I loved it. I loved that. That was so good. That was so fun. I don't know, y'all. Now, let me clarify here. If I am going under the assumption, that's the word, that I can play other people's collections or that like Kenny has Rising Sun, obviously I'm not picking that. But I'm trying to be true to myself here and like pretend that this is my collection. That like I don't just have access to someone else's collection. And I almost want to lean Rising Sun. I think it's almost a matter of player counts. You know, it's kind of weird actually. I think Blood Rage is probably the best of the 3. But if I'm talking about a game that I want on my collection to make me the happiest, I think it's actually Ankh or Rising Sun. I don't quite know why that is. I haven't dug into my psyche yet to figure out why that is. But I've played a lot of Blood Rage and I love that game. It's great fun. But there's something special and unique about Ankh and Rising Sun that kind of pull it above Blood Rage. Again, I think Blood Rage is the better game. But for what I want on my shelf, I think it's Ankh or Rising Sun. And I think that becomes a matter of player count. If you're playing at 2 or 4, Ankh all the way. If you're playing at 3 or 5, Rising Sun all the way. So ultimately, this is a really hard one to answer. I'm just not going to answer it because this is my video. And I can do what I want. And lastly, Too Many Bones. In this case, Undertow, but that doesn't matter. Too Many Bones. This is a game that is just oh so good. And I was thinking of games that I could use on my shelf, right? And I could use a 2-player game. I could use a cooperative game. I could use a solo game. I could use a dice chucker, a strategy, an RPG. This has that. It has it all. It's not just 2-player, it's 3-player, it's 4-player, it's 1-player. It doesn't matter what player count you're playing Too Many Bones at, you're probably going to have a great time. Now, I've not played a lot of Too Many Bones. I've played it multiple times, at least 5. But like, I've still barely scratched the surface of this game. And ultimately, I think that's why it's here. It's a game that I'm constantly wanting to play. Yes, it is difficult to table, and in turn, I haven't played it near as much as I'd like to have. But it's always at the forefront of like my head, at the forefront of my thoughts. If I'm thinking about games that I want to play, this is up there with the best of them. I adore everything about it, from the dice rolling to the characters to the branching paths, the loot, the story, the brutalness, the brutality of Too Many Bones. It is hard. I like that. I'm not opposed to a challenge, to a struggle. I don't necessarily want to win every cooperative game I play. It's part of why Death May Die is awesome too, is it's not easy. And to me, Too Many Bones is just a game that you can kind of throw the whole kitchen sink at. You can play it alone. You can play it with people. If you like dice, great. If you like strategy, great. Like, I feel like this is like the sand, right? Like, you put all the rocks in your rock garden, and then you pour sand to fill the gaps, right? Like, to me, Too Many Bones was my gap filler. It's like, well, this is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I did hit a perfect 10. Wow, I wasn't even trying. This is my 9-game collection. What am I missing? And then I was just like, let me just sprinkle some Too Many Bones in that collection. And it was great. It was level, perfectly level. No air getting through. 100% sealed collection. 10 games, incredible. Look at me. Who would have thought? Not me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for taking time to watch the video. And please check out our Patreon if you're interested in supporting there as well. Again, doing some revamping there, and we'll be happy to take any feedback you have. Oh, and if you want to hear just as many hot takes about movies as you heard about board games, make sure you check out Board Game Box Office, which is found everywhere podcasts are found. Last episode, we talked Star Wars. This is my first time watching Star Wars, ever. I saw The Phantom Menace as a kid when I was in the theaters, actually. 5 years old, I guess, but I fell asleep. So, like, I don't think it really counted. But I just watched A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and now Phantom Menace. I'm 5 movies deep. Look at me. It's been great fun, actually. And we love talking movies and talking board games over at Board Game Box Office. We'd love to see you there. Make sure you review it on whatever podcast platform you have. And I think that's enough of a call to action by this point in time. You've probably heard it all. Thank you. See you later.